This is Good Morning Suncoast. We're here for you.
Good morning, I'm Beth Yates filling in for Rebecca Vargas.
And along with John Scalzi, I'm Don Brennan. Thanks for joining us this morning. And yes, we have a proposal that went somewhat awry coming up in the next half hour. It's something you do want to see because it's such a good story, yet it's very embarrassing.
I can imagine they're going to be talking about that for a while.
Yes, but before
it's pretty funny, too.
Yeah, it is funny.
It is funny.
And down the road, I'm sure he'll be laughing and laughing.
No doubt.
Right now, he's not laughing.
Yeah, it might still be too early.
Yes.
We have some showers out there in Gulf waters this morning. So the morning commute could feature a little bit of rainfall on some of your roads. Just watch for slick surfaces. I don't expect to see much in the way of heavy rainfall. So that's not in the cards, but a quick brief shower might be, like intermittent wiper kind of shower stuff. But the rain chance is small, only at about 10 to 20% before the noontime hour. Following that, all those showers move inland. We're going to be talking about tropics. There's a system down there that Hurricane Hunter aircraft are back from. And we'll be talking about a cold front that'll be limping into our area. All that coming up in just a few. Back to you guys.
Thank you, John. Taking a look at Suncoast roadways. There is an accident to tell you about right at the I-75 and I-275 merger there. It's actually on I-75 northbound at mile marker 228, which is the 275 exit. So be aware of that. I-75 northbound, mile marker 278, there's an accident. And then the building volume on State Road 70 as you cross 301, headed east towards 75, and also on 301 as you head north towards State Road 70. Otherwise, Manatee County is looking good. Sarasota County has been looking good all morning. Knock on wood, don't want to jinx it. All the way down into Venice and Northport. No accidents or delays. And topping our news this morning, more concern over the sinkhole at the Mosaic phosphate plant and how quickly the state alerted neighbors about it.
Well, Governor Scott admitted the regulations regulating pollution is outdated, and some Suncoast residents say the governor's proposal to prevent similar incidents from happening again falls short. ABC 7's Ray Collins has more.
It's a very unsettling situation.
Gabriel Hammond of Sarasota isn't just upset about this giant sinkhole that leaked hundreds of millions of gallons of dirty water into the state's main aquifer. He's also upset at the state government's delay in telling neighbors.
Well, it's astounding because Mosaic initially notified the Florida Department of Environmental Protection and Polk County within 48 hours of the spill of the radioactive material into the aquifer. But law does not compel the Florida Department of Environmental Protection to alert the public as soon as they get notice of the spill, which is quite frankly confounding to me.
We clearly have a law with regard to public notification that didn't make sense.
Even the governor agrees. Rick Scott toured the sinkhole site Tuesday in Polk County, about an hour northwest of Sarasota.
There ought to have been public notification right away. That's an outdated law, and so that's why we did the emergency rule.
Scott's referring to a rule that now requires mining companies to alert the media within 24 hours, something even Mosaic admits shouldn't have to be mandated.
In 2020 hindsight, I wish and Mosaic wishes that we had done outreach to the nearby community sooner.
That should be common sense. That should be common courtesy. I mean, you know, you have people's lives around here.
Some sinkhole neighbors have filed federal lawsuits against Mosaic due to the possibility of tainted water. Back in Sarasota, Hammond says he's concerned what happens when the governor's new emergency policy expires in 3 months.
The rule will no longer be in effect after 3 months, and it'll be up to the legislature, and unless they have an emergency legislative session, we'll have to wait till the legislative session in March for new, stricter rules and alerting the public when these spills happen.
Mosaic says the spill was contained within their site and is no threat to the public. In the newsroom, Ray Collins, ABC 7, your Suncoast News.
All right, thanks, Ray. The state's DEP also leading the cleanup in what remains in this weekend's fuel spill on I-75 near Northport when a tanker overturned near the Toledo Blade Boulevard. Now, officials say more than 4,000 gallons of gasoline have already been cleaned up, but out of an abundance of caution, officials also shut down a portion of the city's water plant connected to the Myakkahatchee Creek. because of a light sheen that was spotted outside of the contamination area after a recent rainfall.
We don't want to process that right now until we are 100% sure that that water is safe to consume. So what we've done is we've shut that portion of our plant down, and instead we're taking water from other resources further away.
City stresses that because of the high volume of water in storage, no potential contaminated water have made it through their systems, but they have tested the water as a precaution. Those results are expected back from the DEP soon.
New information in the investigation into the death of a woman whose body was found after a house fire last weekend. Fire investigators say the woman was trapped and died in that fire and broke out in the Harbor Cove Mobile Home Park near Warm Mineral Springs Saturday afternoon. According to the state fire marshal's office, the fire does not appear to be intentional, but the mobile home is a total loss. Investigators say it will take some time before they determine the cause of that fire. The name of the woman killed has still not been released. In Manatee County, the sheriff's office is investigating a shooting that left one man injured. Deputies were called to the Florida Avenue Park, a subdivision on 5th Street West in Bradenton just before 8 o'clock last night following reports of a shooting. 43-year-old Jason Lebrecht was found with a gunshot wound. Deputies say he was arguing with a known suspect when the shooting occurred and was taken to a local hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. No arrests have been made.
From the northernmost part of Anna Maria Island to 20 miles south in Venice, red tide is causing thousands and thousands of dead fish to float ashore. Some residents were wondering if these fish kills are related to the sewage dumps during the Hurricane Hermine. And St. Pete dumped at least 136 million gallons of partially treated raw sewage mixed with rainwater into the bay. But marine scientists say there is no direct link between sewage and toxic algae blooms. But they did note that adding nutrients to the existing bloom could potentially increase red tide levels.
Nutrients in water from, say, sewage doesn't initiate a bloom. It will not be responsible for bloom initiation. However, if there is a bloom close enough to shore to use that nutrients coming off the surface, then the bloom can actually sustain and prolong duration.
Now, FWC staff are still collecting water samples and investigating fish kills.
And the Bradenton City Council is set to vote today on a proposal for a new development in East Bradenton. Next Generation Development wants to build 12 single-family homes and 172 townhomes in the 4900 block of First Avenue East. Nearby residents are concerned about the construction traffic the project will bring to the neighborhood. The Planning Commission has restricted traffic to First Avenue East and hired a flagman to direct traffic. Developers argue it's an unnecessary finance and a safety issue. Next Generation has been asked to come up with a new safety plan to present to the council before they vote on the project today. In Venice, the City Council has postponed a vote on what to do with a solar canopy that was built in the wrong spot. A contractor installing canopies in the parking lot of the Venice Community Center looked at the site plans upside down. Once the mistake was realized, work did come to a halt, but not before it was put in wrongly. Now nearby residents want the canopy removed because it's blocking their view. Moving the structure would cost the company $160,000, so FB&L now has 2 weeks to go over input from residents before the City Council makes their decision.
Hotel plans years in the making are now coming to fruition in Bradenton. The Bradenton Herald is reporting that Manatee County Commissioners have approved a 250-room hotel. It'll be built near the Bradenton Convention Area Center in Palmetto, and it could be branded as a Sheraton. The plans also calls for restaurants and cafes, and some 400 permanent jobs will reportedly be created once the hotel is complete.
And another school merger is getting closer to reality in Manatee County, as the Manatee County School Board allowing district staff to begin negotiations with an architect and a construction manager